Coming up on the show tonight, we're going to be talking about a number of things, including about how the U.S. may surpass, I should say, Saudi Arabia in oil production, how Tesla won Motor Trend's Car of the Year, and how I'm saying Ford Public Relations outflanked General Motors this week when it comes to electrification.
Autoline After Hours is brought to you by Bridgestone, your journey, our passion, and by Chevrolet. Chevy runs deep.
This is Autoline After Hours with John McElroy, episode 172 for November 16, 2012, How Ford Developed the New Fusion. Watch Autoline After Hours live at Autoline.tv every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time or 2300 GMT. You can subscribe to this podcast for free by searching for Autoline in iTunes, Stitcher, or by following the links on our website.
Johnny, how are you?
I'm doing good, man.
Good.
How about you?
Doing great.
I'm glad you're here. We thought we might not have you here tonight, but
Yes,
I'm glad
I was
you are here.
Temporarily MIA, but I'm back.
And you might be heading to Austin,
For the
right?
Formula One race.
This weekend.
Yes.
I'm a jealous dog, man. I can't believe you're getting to go to do that.
Well, it's a monumental event, really.
It is.
No one thought it would happen.
Right. Hey, we've got Alisa Priddle with us tonight, too, from the Detroit Free Press.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here.
And we have John Jraiche, the chief engineer for the Ford Focus, or Fusion. Too many F words there. The Ford Fusion is going to be joining us later in the show. Maybe I should just call it the Mondeo. We'll see if he objects to that. We'll find out later on. And Peter, you've brought some more Autoextremist T-shirts
Right.
to the show.
3 of them. You can read the...
Yeah, so we're going to have a trivia quiz here, folks, and it's going to be live during the course of this show, so get your pencils out, because this is a 2-part question, and whoever comes up with the first 3 correct answers, or the first 3 who come up with correct answers, can win these T-shirts. So, boom, here it goes. What 2 things happened in qualifying at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the 1977 Indy 500, and why were they significant? 2 things. And I've got the answers here, so shoot us an email with the answer. Send it to viewermail@AutolineDetroit.tv. And by the end of the show, we're going to announce who the 3 winners are here. But hey, I want to get your guys' reaction. I don't know if you saw it. I think it was in Monday's front page of the Wall Street Journal, saying that the U.S. may become the #1 oil producer in the world again by 2020, which isn't that far away.
Because of technological advances. And
this is all shale oil. It all comes back to this horizontal drilling and fracking that's highly controversial. But fracking?
Fracking.
Fracking.
Fragging.
Fragging. But, I mean, who'd have thunk this? I mean, we've been talking on this show for a number of years now that, we believe fracking is a game changer, or let's say shale oil and shale gas is a game changer. But who would have thought that the U.S. might become the #1 oil producer in the world again? I don't know as anyone saw that one coming.
No, not to mention, isn't the #1 natural gas, too? Right?
And #1 in natural gas, right. And by a wide margin. I mean, a big margin.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's fantastic. And, we'll all be driving around in Flintstone mobiles, thanks to the Obama administration, but that's okay.
Well, that's
we'll
what I
have
was just
plenty
going
of
to say.
fuel.
Exactly. The irony is that, we've reelected the guy who's behind Stringent Cafe and wants more electric vehicles on the road. So presumably then we'll become the top producer and we'll have huge supplies for a long time to come if we're going to put all these alternative powertrains on the road.
Yeah, we'll get 55 miles per gallon and we'll pay $3,500 a car, but we'll have plenty of fuel.
Well, see, here's my question, though, is what's this do to the auto industry? In the sense that, geez, all of a sudden, if there's plenty of oil, I don't think we're going to back off our fuel economy standards, but maybe we say, maybe we don't have to hit 54.5 mpgs by 2020.
Well, there is a midterm review
in 2017.
And, I think there might be some easing with the trucks.
See, I could see it even going beyond that. I could see them saying, let's not back off the goal. But maybe we don't have to hit it by 2025. Maybe we
slide it back 5 years.
Slide it back 5 years, maybe 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because the reality is we've all watched hybrids and small vehicles, small engines. I mean, if you chart gas prices and the sales of those vehicles, I mean, they are parallel lines. So if you have gas prices, because we have oversupply, if the prices are coming down, you are going to see that people aren't going to be buying the vehicles they need to meet those corporate averages. Instead, they are going to run out and they're going to buy the trucks they love and the SUVs that they love. And then automakers are going to be scrambling, and we're going to be once again in a situation where the consumer is saying one thing and the government is saying something else. And there's the poor automaker stuck in the middle, scrambling around, trying to appease customers who really don't care what the government policy is. They want to buy what they want to buy.
Yeah.
I was talking with some people earlier today, and they thought, no, people care about fuel economy, and they're going to buy the hybrids and the plug-ins and the small cars. And I'm going, I'm not convinced. I'm not. And the only reason I say that is, we saw this happen in the 80s. We had two big oil shocks in the 70s. And sure enough, in 79, 80, 81, 82, everybody was talking small cars, lightweight, all the same things almost that we're hearing today. And then guess what? All of a sudden, oil became plentiful, the price went down, and boy, did that change what was going on in the car segment.
You can just see it monthly.
To trucks and SUVs.
Exactly. You can just see it in monthly sales. Whatever the gas prices do that month, that's how the mix changes. I mean, it's dramatic how lockstep they are.
And I'm not convinced that gas is going to get real cheap, but even if it just stays where it is,
I don't think
in 8 years' time, $3.50, $3.50, whatever dollars a gallon, $4. It's not going to seem that expensive.
I don't think it'll get cheap. I don't think prices will drop. I mean, it's like
the
old
but if
thing.
They don't go to 5.
Yeah, but it's the only. Whenever we have a shock, it falls back, but never all the way back where it was.
Correct.
So,
right.
I don't expect we'll have drastic price reductions on fuel. But this segs perfectly into Ford's massive PR blitz this week with the C-Max and the energy and this and that. And this is when GM was having what were they having, an environmental review?
Well, they were doing a big electrification media presentation in Sausalito, California. And yeah, that's how I read it.
When they said they were backing away from hybrids, right?
Well, they said they're going to concentrate on plug-ins. So yeah, you can read into, they're not going to do the strong kind of hybrid that, say, is like the Toyota Prius. They're going to do plug-ins.
Or the regular C-Max.
Or the regular C-Max. Yeah. Exactly right. So, but what I find so interesting is, as you guys know, this war that we call the auto industry.
It's on
with
every
all these companies,
front.
It's on every front. It's not just coming up with the best products or the most efficient manufacturing. Public relations counts for a lot. Yeah. So my read of this is Ford got word that GM was having this big media confab in California. So last week they had this big blowout thing about the Michigan assembly plant and how flexible it is. It can make all these plugins, or it can make all these hybrids, or it can make all these EcoBoosts, or it can make, whatever it happens to be. And then bang, then they have the C-Max Energy and talk all about that and what its fuel economy equivalent is. And then they even showed us the hybrid version, the plug-in version of the Fusion, and talked, about. So I just saw this as Ford just completely outflanking GM from a PR standpoint.
Yeah, and the C-Max, that's going over very well in the touchy-feely enclaves of, wherever they are, California and various other places. It's well received.
Well, let's see where the sales go.
It's interesting for a nameplate that doesn't exist in this country. It's coming out of nowhere. And I guess you have to give props to Ford for hammering away at Toyota relentlessly. Every vehicle they come out, there's no other vehicles in the world. There's just the Toyota that they seem to be comparing.
Do you think they can
to.
pull it off? I mean, think about it. Toyota has 75% of the hybrid segment right
so
now.
they're synonymous with it.
50% of that, of the entire segment's the Prius alone.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, the strategy, they say, is that, so it's synonymous, Toyota is synonymous with hybrid. Right. So if you've got something that nobody knows about, you might as well try and go into the same pool as the one that everybody knows. Don't waste your time on all of the other nameplates. If anybody thinks of C-Max and Prius in the same breath, then they're a step ahead of the game, aren't they?
They are, but you got to sell these things in big volume to pay for it all.
Yeah.
But do they? But that's the whole point of the flexibility of the Michigan plant.
True.
They don't have to sell it in big volumes.
Well, I mean, you still do. I mean, these battery packs and these electric motors and all the electronics and everything that goes. Number one, there was a huge development cost to come up with them. That bill's got to get paid. Right. And then when you add that in the car, it adds more cost to the car. So that's why I'm just saying, if you get enough volume, and clearly Toyota's done that with the Prius, you pay for all that stuff.
Well, what did Ford say? That on the C-Max Energy, that they saved costs by something like 70% because of the shared componentry with fusion energy and Focus Electric.
No question. If you can develop one powertrain, in this case plug-in powertrain, and drop it in a whole bunch of different models, no question about it, you're definitely saving money. But at the end of the day, you still have to sell collectively enough of them to pay for all that development costs and cover your variable costs and all that. And I give a lot of credit to Ford to do what you're saying, Alisa, of going after Toyota. I mean, they're the only ones that I see, model line by model line, Lincoln going against Lexus, Ford going against Toyota. They're the only ones I see really going at it.
And, Ford dropped another unexpected vehicle, the new Transit Connect, which is, I think it's going to be a huge hit. I mean, the thing is just, it's got too much going for it not to be.
I'll play a little bit of devil's advocate there. I think it'll be the single best airport shuttle out there because it does have all these wonderful amenities.
It's not big enough for that. Not big enough for airport shuttle.
Well, taxi. They say it's good, like taxi.
It's a better taxi than the Nissan taxi for New York.
Exactly. I mean, it makes a great airport shuttle for a small airport shuttle. Where I'm not sure is that they expect that of all of the Transit Connect sales, half of them will be the wagons. And of those wagons, half of them will actually be retail sales in personal use. And what I'm not sure about is the person that wants a minivan or wants a family hauler and they want the full suite of the DVD player and all of that. It doesn't quite go that far, and I'm not sure that buyer will go to the Transit Connect wagon and give up some of those amenities, unless the price is so startlingly low, and they say it'll be a couple thousand more than
I think the one thing that'll sway consumers is the mileage.
I think mileage do a lot, but I think Alisa's got it right. These are family haulers, and price means a lot. So if there's substantially...
And amenities, movies for the kids.
Well, you got to have that.
And this doesn't have that.
You're kidding?
Well, they have
it doesn't have DVD players, no.
Ooh.
No, they have chloroform dispensers instead.
Works for me.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you guys think of Motor Trend giving Tesla's Model S its car of the year?
I have to say, I was initially shocked. Having talked to some people afterwards, they said, remember, this is a contest for vehicles. It's not for business case of the company.
Right.
Because it's very hard to hear that and divorce yourself from the idea of just the company's woes. So that does make you step back and give it a second look if you try and divorce the two and just try and look at technology and those kinds of things. But I'm still wrapping my head around it.
See, I was kind of impressed. I mean, here's a company that's come out of nowhere, essentially. Yeah, they did the Roadster, but that was just a Lotus Elise that they stuffed batteries into. So they didn't really do that car. Here they've come from scratch. I haven't driven the car, but everybody I've talked to just raves about it. And now Motor Trend, and, they're pretty product sticklers. You got to get it right and they give it Car of the Year. I think it's an astonishing statement for Tesla to pull this off. To your point, Alisa, I'm not convinced the company's going to survive, but I'm very impressed that a bunch of people who largely have never worked together have out of the box come out with just a knockout good car.
Well, I know some of the Motor Trend people have said, okay, as long as they stay in business long enough for us to pick another car next year and forget this one.
That's an issue.
Well, I haven't driven it. It's still vaporware to me. So I'd rather talk about what I am driving this week is the ATS, which I think is a sensational car. I'm not kidding. The driving feel, the connectivity, and not the wrong kind of connectivity, but the right kind of connectivity.
Connectivity to the road.
To the road.
Through your hands. This car is an achievement from an American car company. I mean, it feels like old school BMWs used to feel like about 10 years ago.
Because it feels so much lighter.
It's lighter. It's so agile. It's so light on its feet. And I haven't even driven the high-performance Turbo 4 yet. This is the 3.6.
The V6.
Yeah, and but still.
Which actually, to me, is the least satisfying.
Well, I know. That's why I want to drive the Turbo, but I am so impressed with the chassis development in this car. It is...
And Peter, I got to tell you, get in the base engine car. It's a 2.5 liter. It's an all-new engine. And just because it's a lighter lump in the front end, the car actually even handles better than the V6.
But I will tell enthusiasts who think that they just can't get their heads around going to a Cadillac showroom or whatever, they need to go because it's a great car. If you like driving, you focus on driving, the ATS is a great car.
I'm in a Lincoln MKZ this week, and I'm very impressed by that car as well. And it's perfect that we have John Jraiche here because this is, the cousin to the Fusion. So maybe we'll get into a bit of the MKZ, but it's interesting. I was at a lunch yesterday, came out of the restaurant, and here's some guy, face peering into the driver window going, oh, what is this thing? And so I show up, and he goes, oh, is this your car? And I was like, yeah. He says, it's beautiful. I said, look, I'm just test driving it. He says, can I get inside? It's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. I mean, so that's exactly the kind of reaction that Ford needs with this as it tries to get Lincoln back on its feet again.
Well, we'll have to, when we get John out here, talk a little bit about, I've heard people debating which is the prettier car, the Fusion or the Lincoln, and there seems to be two very different schools of thoughts on this one, so we'll have to get John to weigh in on that one.
Good. Well, hey, why don't we do that? Let's take a commercial break right now. Let's get John Jraiche on the show. So, Ben, let's give a shout out to our friends at Bridgestone.
It was small for making U-turns when I got lost. But other than that.
Okay, shut up, you. We got to talk to our guest.
Hey,
John Jraiche.
Canadian friend here.
That's right.
Yeah, geez, Peter, we're up against two Canadians here.
Yeah.
Alisa
Look
and
out,
John.
eh?
Oh, no, we can almost have a Can-Am hockey tournament now.
Yeah.
So, John Jraiche, Chief Engineer on the Ford Fusion. Welcome to Autoline After
Thanks,
Hours.
John. Nice to be here.
And we brought one of your babies here in the studio with us, too.
Absolutely. Well, what do you think?
Well, I love the car.
Yeah, I love the Fusion.
I like the styling. I like the way it drives. I absolutely love the seats.
Yeah.
Interior, very well
Very
done.
good.
Okay, you can go now. We like your car. What was it like for you? I mean, this must have been one hell of a program. This car is going to be built all over the world. You're getting design input from everywhere. This has got to be different from any program you've ever done.
No, I think, we've talked about it on Tuesday when I had a chance to go on the proving ground with you here. I've been here since day one, early 2000, or late 2008 in the development of this program. It's been one of the most rewarding experiences of my career. Just the collaboration under the One Ford strategy, working with my counterparts in China, working with my counterparts in the engineering team in Germany. It's nothing like I've experienced before in my career.
What's that do to your workday, though? I mean, you got the Germans way
Early
one way, the
days.
Chinese away the other way, and
Early
you're in
days
the
and
middle.
late nights. There's no good time to have a conference call with Shanghai. So I was talking to you earlier today. I think I started the day with the team in China, and midday we had a conference call with our team from Germany, and that to me is just an average day on a global program.
What about language, too? I imagine not just the time zone differences, but language has got to be an issue.
Well, we're a very diverse company, and I think, cultures, language, the different ideas and perspectives that people bring to the table. It's just absolute joy to be a part of this team. And Ford is a multinational corporation, and we definitely have a lot of diversity and a lot of input from around the world.
It's got to be a lot of screaming and pounding at the table, though. I mean, because clearly a European customer is going to be different, and your European engineers are going to be saying we need this, that, and the other thing. The Americans are going to be going, no, we need this, that, and the other thing. And the Chinese are going to be saying, no, you don't understand our market. This is what we need.
I think, you touched on one of the beauties of the One Ford strategy. And the collaboration globally on this car has been quite good. Driving dynamics is a great example. People from around the world, their wants and needs, they're starting to converge. There's not much difference. Good driving dynamics here in North America are typically good driving dynamics in Germany and our friends in China. So, but when we engineered this car, we engineered it from the platform up, all new platform, and the scalability, the amount of technology, features, and options on this car, we have enough to deploy as the customer needs. So the content in China might not be the same as Europe and North America. We share a lot of commonality, but we're also able to deploy customer-relevant features in those markets as well.
Now, how closely do you work with your Lincoln counterpart?
Well, the Lincoln development team is a unique team, a unique chief engineer. He sits down the hall from me. So I'm imagining a day down the road where you invite him to talk about the Lincoln MKZ.
Yeah, we will.
And in terms of it's got its own identity, the own customer, target customer, and today we're unveiling the Fusion into the marketplace for North America, and down the road here you're going to be hearing more about the MKZ. So
do you try and keep things somewhat separate to?
Well, we
your distinctiveness.
We absolutely want to reward and provide content that our respective customers want. And the Lincoln MKZ target customer does the same. I mean, that product development team has a unique set of requirements from a ride, handling, features, and content standpoint, just as we did on the Fusion.
Lincoln has a separpt design team. They have
absolutely.
I mean, they're really going
two separate distinct teams, separate studios. And I'm sure they're going to love coming down your show and talking to you more about it in the future.
Yeah. So my attitude on the Fusion is I think it basically redraws the mainstream American market in terms of design, content, sophistication, ride and handling. I mean, I think it basically, sets a new standard for the hottest segment in the U.S.
Styling alone, I mean...
Well, yeah,
it almost
design
like
alone.
This is a class above where it's been.
Yeah. I mean, design alone, the car has great presence on the road. Mm-hmm. We can look at them all we want in the auto shows, and you don't know the impact until you see it on the road. It's got great presence on the road. But, it's executed so well, finished so well. So
no, that's great feedback. And I think... that's the response we've been hearing. I mean, it's early days, but our dealers have started to provide some data from the marketplace, and we're seeing a lot of positive responses. As a matter of fact, one of the data points that really struck me was the Conquest customers, or half our customers are coming from Conquest and from marques like Audi, BMW, and Acura, which is a higher mark in the more premium segment. So we're delighted to see that client and that customer base taking a look at the new Fusion.
Now, wait a minute. I mean, you say half the buyers currently are Conquest on the new car.
It's a balance, but directionally
around there. Are you saying a few BMW, Audi, Acura buyers? Or are you saying a lot of them are?
Well, I think it's early days, but the early data that's coming in, we're seeing our loyal customers back in the showroom. I think it's a nice balance between both the Conquest and the high-end marques that we just talked about, and the loyal Ford customers that we love.
Well, the interesting thing is, we're immersed in this stuff constantly. I mean, you are even further immersed in it. The interesting thing is when this car starts going out mainstream America, who, you know, in the real world where auto executive changes aren't on page one, they don't even make their local business section, you know. So that's when Ford will find out the impact of this car. I mean, when you get out in the real world.
Right.
Yeah, I maintain that the general public is not even aware that this car is out yet.
No.
You know, with all the advertising, the millions and millions that Ford's spending on making the world aware, the general public doesn't even know this.
It doesn't register until you see it.
Until you see it, exactly.
For yourself.
Well, tonight's a big night, as a matter of fact. Tonight is the Go Further event at
Explain that, because I didn't hear about this.
Well, tonight is the Go Further event hosted by our dealers nationwide. And we're partnering with American Idol.
Yeah, I got an invite from my local Ford.
Well, there you go. You can go in and audition, and they'll load up your audition as a judge onto the webcam, and the winner will get an all-expense-paid trip to Hollywood to be on the American Idol show and get a tour there. So, and every visitor that visits a Ford showroom, Ford and the dealers would donate $10 to a local charity.
So that's going on right now tonight.
Right now.
Till 9 o'clock tonight.
9 o'clock tonight. And as of 2 o'clock, I just received word there's about 20,000 customers that visited Ford showrooms so far. So
Well,
really
we just lost our audience. They ran
want to
out
be on
audition.
American Idol.
Right.
Well, no, I just turned around in the Ford dealer up the street here, and there was a lot of people coming and going.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So who's the chief designer on the body?
Chris Hamilton, who, and I mentioned the diversity on our team. Chris Hamilton, who's from the UK and actually repatriated back a little while ago, just did a phenomenal job with the lines on this car. The silhouette is my, from a three-quarter standpoint, is my favorite view. Because when you look at it, I always say you think it's a 5-door coupe when indeed it's a 4-door sedan, comfortably fits 5 passengers. And I even put a 46-inch LCD television box there. You'll flip fold the seat. We didn't trade off any of the interior package or cargo. So hopefully when customers see it, it may look sleek in the exterior.
Now walk through this, because we got the video running of this big...
Sure, that's a 46-inch LCD television box. So you can, with a one flip fold execution, flip fold the 6040C, you see that the open pass-through, you'll slide in the box with quite...
Well, there you go. That's America. Because if you can fit a big-ass TV in the car, then what more do you need?
Well, it's, you put your golf clubs back there, whatever you want to do, Peter. I think...
Now, which trim is this?
This one is the SE. I believe you have an SE manual, 1.6. And that's the other thing.
Which is actually
here.
my favorite.
And that,
With the manual, yeah.
I mean, so basically that's the standard car.
This is one of our mid-series cars.
No, it's mid-level.
And we have, and I think we talked about it on Tuesday, John, the benefit of this platform has enabled us to give just an unprecedented number of powertrain choices on this car. We have the 2.5, the EcoBoost, the 1.6, which is here, the manual transmission and the auto axle comes in a start-stop. Then the 2-liter all-wheel drive and front-wheel drive.
Those optional aluminum wheels?
This is an 18-inch. Yep. So you'll come in 16.
Is that part of the package, or is that?
This is an option, but you can get 16 all the way up through 19-inch wheels on the car. We also have the HEV, which as you know is the most fuel-efficient sedan in North America, and we're really proud of the powertrain and electrification team for helping us deliver that.
So you have what,
customers.
if you count engines and transmissions, 6 different powertrains?
8 configurations. 8. So, and that's the benefit of the platform strategy, and our ability to provide that has actually been a result of the One Ford approach to engineering the best technology in this platform and deploying it for our customers to decide which one suits them best.
Well, I think it's cool. I mean, that you can get a manual gearbox in the thing.
Right. And I think that goes back
and
to
it's a really nice
It's
manual.
really fun to drive, too.
It's really
I think
nice.
that's one of the Ford DNAs was fun to drive. It's precise steering. It's engaging, and I think when you're cruising at 60 miles an hour, you actually feel and have a conversation with somebody in the back seat, because the noise levels are exceptionally low on the car.
Yeah, but you can't get the manual with the other powertrains, right? Just with
the manual is offered on the 1.6.
What's the horsepower on the 1.6?
Before you answer that, just run your mic up closer. It looks like it's about to fall off.
There we go.
We don't want to lose them.
Yeah. Yeah, just move it up higher up the tie there. That's
there you
good.
go.
That's fine. Yeah.
This is 185 horsepower. So, and we also have the 2-liter that delivers the highest torque in the segment for customers that want 270 foot-pounds of torque, for customers that want a more sportier version as well.
The one thing the car has been dinged for in the press is the packaging, especially rear seats.
Well, I just showed you the 46-inch.
Well, I know. Yeah, no, that's really impressive.
It's a people package.
But the people packaging, you know, because you won't say this, but I will. You cannot put the 46-inch television in a Honda Accord. But Honda's getting all kinds of accolades for how big its backseat room is.
Well, that's the why, you know, all kidding aside, and that's one of the reasons why we put the LCD box in there. I think when you look at the car and you see the sleek silhouette, the perception might be that the interior is compromised, when indeed the interior volume in the cargo space is better than outgoing and very competitive in the marketplace.
So there are critics.
So is it a coincidence at all that your head designer's from the UK and there's a decidedly Aston Martin look to the...
Well, we appreciate the premium comparison. I think, you know, the team is very diverse. We have, you know, our German engineers that were part of the chassis and the ride and development team, with our North American-led vehicle engineering team that's done an outstanding job with ride quality. So we have people from around the world that worked on this car, and that's what made it so enjoyable for us.
You know, my column this week was about parity in the automotive business. I mean, clearly the democratization of technology is spread across the industry now. I mean, before Hyundai Kia were nowhere, but they went out and hired the right people. And you can plug in the right ingredients. You want to do a performance car? You can do a performance car. You've got every car company in the world now has engineers who can do a performance car. Or if you want to do an econo box, you want to do an electric car, you want to do a hybrid. So now these companies who can deliver these vehicles, what does it come down to yet again is the image of that company. What are people's perception of that company? And so this is interesting for Ford because literally in the last 5 years with under Alan Mullally's leadership, Ford has transformed itself. Mm-hmm. And I'm just, you know, I think Ford has the mainstream American consumer intenders. I mean, people will give them a look, but now, you know, what you're delivering to the street is a decided cut above. And so it'll be interesting how this is perceived. But I think Ford's imagery is such that it will work. I mean,
well, look, if you're really pulling in BMW, Audi, and Acura buyers, it's working. And that's not with the Lincoln version of this platform. It's with the Ford platform.
Yeah, well, and you know what? I will say this. The MKZ looks decidedly different.
Yeah, and you were saying earlier that there's a difference in opinion.
Well, I've just, you know, just when you talk to people, and I've heard some people say that they like the look of the Fusion better than the Lincoln. I mean, they are very, very different, and I think you're probably going to have people fall in both camps. And so you know, your car's almost too good looking that you can overshadow your luxury brand.
I don't know if you can be too good looking.
You know?
Yeah. I think.
But there are some people who think that.
You know, I think it really started with the Fusion in 2006. We were talking about this. It's 2006 when we introduced the Fusion with the 3-bar grille. That was the face of Ford. And it was distinctive at the time. It was still a 3-box sedan. And I think this vehicle with the trapezoidal grille, the plan view sweep of the fascia, which enabled us to put the Ford over prominently on the hood, which is the place where a premium marque typically puts it, really gave it a more premium, stylish feel to it. You know, at first glance, you look at it, it looks like an upscale vehicle. And I think our designers and engineers have done a great job in projecting that image on this car. I think it'll be very distinctive in the marketplace, just as the 3-bar grille was in 2006.
Well, that's what I meant. I mean, it is going to change the mainstream American, what's considered to be the mainstream American car. I mean, the Fusion is going to elevate that. But again, the MKZ, you have to see it on the road, because it does look different. And the funny thing is, the Aston Martin reference to the front, but when you see more and more Fords and what they're doing with this front end, it doesn't look so much like Aston Martin anymore. I mean, especially when the new Mustang comes, we're going to see the ultimate expression of that front end. So.
Well, I think you're right, Peter. I think this, like I said, this will be a distinctive car in the segment, and we'll know more as the sales numbers come in and our feedback from our dealers come in. But so far, it's been overwhelmingly positive.
Well, the ultimate initial product differentiator is design, because of this democratization of technology. It's design and image of the brand. Those are the two things. So, design draws people in, and then it's what they feel about that brand that will...
I'd add one more, the dealership experience.
Well, yeah, that's a whole nother
ball. That's a different show.
I mean, it's interesting because you can spend hundreds of millions to launch a car and have seamless execution, marketing, the social media, everything, and it can all come apart in 5 minutes at a dealer if it's the wrong person on the wrong day with the wrong customer. So, that's one part of the equation that cannot be fixed. I mean, when it's a great experience, it's great. If it's a bad one, people have the shortest attention span, I think, right now in the history of the human race is right now. So if they have a bad experience, they don't go back. They don't go to another Ford dealer. They don't go back.
There's no brand loyalty in it.
Yeah, there's no brand loyalty.
There's so much choice.
Yeah, there's so much choice. But yeah, that's one thing that can't be.
But getting back to the styling, I love the front end on the Fusion, and I love the rear end on the MKZ. Mm-hmm. I think that
the tail lights are really nice.
The whole shape, the whole graphic of the rear end on a car is unlike anything on the road.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the car, art and science really came together. I mentioned our lead designer worked hand in hand with the vehicle engineers, and this car spent a lot of time in the wind tunnel. And the sleek silhouette not only is appealing aesthetically, it was also enabled one of the lowest, if not the lowest, C sub D.
You guys are claiming what,
0.27.
That's low.
Which is pretty low. The mirror, the door-mounted mirrors, for instance, 13% improvement in drag. The windshield angle, the backlight angles, all of that contributed to not only a kinetic design, but exceptional C sub D in wind resistance.
Now, as you were engineering for Europe, for the Mondeo, you had to bring kind of your A game for that because of the more demanding market?
Well, the Mondeo, and we unveiled the product recently in the Paris Auto Show, have 3 body styles. They have the wagon, the 5-door, and the 4-door. And I was telling John earlier the week, the wagon's actually the highest mixed, highest volume body style in the region.
Isn't that amazing? And so the mix is what, 60% wagon?
It's well over 50.
And you can't even sell them in this market here.
I know. I want to move to Europe.
And the beauty of the platform strategy is we do share 80% of our parts in commonality with the Mondeo. And there'll be more to talk about that later. And the Mondeo will have its own unique features as appropriate to serve that customer base.
Here's the question for the wagon. Did you do a separate body side aperture?
There's more to talk about that in the future, John. I think when we bring that product to marketplace, there is some differences there, and we can talk about that. I think in general, though, 80% of the car on the 4-door has been shared.
Ever any thoughts to bring a diesel here?
Well, right now, the U.S. is predominantly, as we know, a petrol market, whereas in the other, on the opposite side, side of the equation, the Europeans are predominantly diesel. We absolutely have the technology engineered in the platform. So if the market demand warrants it, or if the infrastructure starts to sway towards a more diesel want, the beauty of this platform strategy is we can have that available.
But no plans to.
Nothing to announce today.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Hey, let's take another quick break. We'll get into the rapid fire part of the show where the audience asks questions. But remember, everybody, we've got a contest running right now where you can win your own Autoextremist.com t-shirt. Hold it up there, Peter. Model it for everyone.
Where's Vanna when we need her?
That's right.
Yeah, this is our old school chiller typeface. Front and back, hey, you'd be styling.
Should we give out any clues?
No.
No? Okay, so I'm going to repeat the question. And the question is, what two things happened in qualifying at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the 1977 Indy 500, and why were they significant? As they say, we have a winner. We have somebody who's already come up with the correct answer. One person. We need at least two more, and we could even take a whole lot more than that, but we're going to pick the top three. So, people, figure it out. Go Google it while we take this quick commercial break. So, Ben, let's give a shout-out to our friends at Chevrolet.
It was more than a car to him. It really was his baby.
Oh, no. That's my old Chevy. Dear God.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's time to get to the rapid fire part of the show. Ben, let it rip. Okay, here we go. That thing always catches me by surprise, that explosion he runs. Okay, John, AAH guest 275 says, is there any chance Ford will offer the 5-door hatch or wagon version of the Fusion here, he means the United States, since the Mondeo offers them?
Well, as I said, John, no plans to announce today, and the European market is predominantly 5-door wagon and 4-door, and that's where we presently have those body styles planned.
Okay, A.M. Guerrero wants to know, could you explain what the new multi-link rear suspension is? He says, I'm assuming it's no longer related to the control blade rear suspension. I read that it's similar to one found in luxury cars.
Absolutely. The control link suspension, high kinematic recession, engineered new for this platform, which enabled us to provide the package space that we talked about. The high kinematic recession, isolating road inputs, making the ride a lot quieter, more luxurious feel, more premium feel in terms of ride and handling attributes. So yes, all new for this platform.
AM, if I'm remembering right, is based in the Philippines. He says, when's Ford going to enter the ASEAN D segment? He says, even Hyundai is now competing with Accord and Camry in the region.
The AC?
ASEAN. ASEAN? Maybe I'm not saying it right.
Yeah, it's your Canadian accent.
My Michigan accent.
Nothing to announce today, John. I think that's something we can definitely get back to that customer, or that caller.
They're just trying to get them to Peoria at the moment.
Isn't that the truth? Rum and Coke just has a comment. He says, Fusion is going to look great at Talladega.
Oh, the new...
sorry, go ahead.
The 2013 NASCAR cars with the, NASCAR responding to the manufacturer input / headlocks to, making the cars look more like production cars. And, the look for NASCAR in 2013 is going to be pretty good. And the Fusion looks fabulous.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. And we were just talking about that before the show. As today was kind of the final approval for all the Ford race teams to change over their body styles to the Fusion.
Yeah.
Mark Seppi wants to know, what are the reasons for replacing the control blade design?
Well, I think anytime you develop a new platform, you want to
make it better.
You just look at improvements overall for ride, quality, handling, package space, and we think the control link offers that for our customers.
Is it going to be found, the new suspension going to go on to other Ford vehicles?
Nothing to announce today, John. I think the platform that we've engineered here enables multiple nameplates in the future, and we'll appropriately unveil which nameplates are going to get that at a later date.
Okay, for all you viewers out there, when he says nothing to announce today, you're asking the right questions. You are. Tony Gray says, cars of the year, remember the Vega, Mustang 2, Volare, Citation, Alliance. Those are some
names
former
of the past.
Motor Trend Car of the Year awards that were some pretty sorry products. I guess he couldn't help but make that comment. Here's an interesting one. Peter, I'll get you to comment on this. Richard Sisko says, I'm a Viper owner. My dealer in South Carolina says the new one will cost 25% over the list price. He says, if that's the case, that's too much money and I'll buy another car.
Well, we just got through talking about dealers. They're independent business people, and their tendency is to strike while the iron's hot. And so if there's a super hot product like the new Viper is, especially with Viper Easties out there, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Right, but the automakers always, whenever this happens, you always see them put messages out to the dealers saying, please, honor the price. Do not gouge customers. This is not good for customer relations. But,
Well, when we had Ralph Gilles on the show earlier in the year talking about the new Viper, this very issue came up. And he said exactly what you're saying, Alisa. They talked to the dealers, please don't. Think of the long run. Think of the long term. Think several years down the road. Don't get greedy all up front.
And to their credit, most dealers do have switched and they have changed. But there's still a lot of dealers out there looking at their watch and saying, well, okay, what are we doing this month? I'm not seeing it, so let's crank it up. Oh, you want a Viper? $25,000 premium. I mean, yeah.
Plus, they get upset when they sell it for a decent price, and the person who buys it turns around and flips it for $20,000 more.
No, that's right.
They feel like they played by the rules, and then they sold to someone who didn't.
If someone's going to make the money, they're going to make the money.
Yeah.
So but it passes quickly too.
That's true.
So the people who
it's a brief moment in time you can do that.
Tell them to wait. Get a Viper later in the year.
Yeah, there you go. Sean Sweeney also wants to know why he can't get the Fusion wagon, but also is asking, when can we see an ST version?
Well, again, nothing to announce today.
See what I told you? See what I told you? You're asking the right question.
You need to announce a few things today, John.
I think
they did
our public relations person, if they were here, they would be.
But there's no one here, so you're okay.
Ford did such a great job on the Focus ST. I could imagine a Fusion ST would be pretty cool.
Really cool.
I think Hal was talking about that a couple of weeks ago, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Sean also goes on to say, the Mustang mules have been driving around with Fusion switchgear, steering wheel, HVAC, and gauges. How close to the Fusion is the next Mustang going to be design-wise?
Again, great question. I think the platform strategy that we have right now is the Fusion is the first product off that platform. Mustang will have its own discussion and when they unveil that product at a later date.
But
Peter, you're saying we're going to see an evolution of this styling theme with the Mustang.
Take a real hard and long look at the Evos concept car.
Yeah.
Awfully close, huh?
Well, and take a chainsaw to the middle of it. Yeah. Shorten it up a bit. Yeah, no, it's by all accounts, the next gen Mustang is going to look very hot.
Like the Evos.
Yeah, very hot.
Very hot car. Hey, Ben, I see we got a phone call here. Let's bring it in.
Hi, this is Roger from Fairfield. I have two questions for your guest, John. First one is, are you using timing chains on any of these EcoBoost engines? Because we're sick and tired of the rubber timing belts. And number two, is there any possibility of getting a six-cylinder in the new Fusion? It's awfully large of a car to have for those tiny motors. We don't want to go through the Thunderbird Turbo Coupe scenario of the 1980s. Thank you very much. Great show.
Thanks, Roger.
Well, first of all, let me answer the thing about the V6. This car is not engineered for the V6. It's a four-cylinder car, right?
It's an all four-cylinder lineup here, exactly.
Could you even stuff a V6 in?
The benefit of the four-cylinder lineup and the EcoBoost lineup is you really don't trade performance. You actually get both fuel benefits and performance. For those enthusiasts, that want the extra torque. You have the 2-liter that delivers the highest end torque in the segment, 270 foot-pounds. So for customers that want a more sportier feel, that option is there as well. And I'll just reinforce the point. The whole EcoBoost lineup, which we've talked about quite a bit across our product line, takes the approach of a no-compromise solution. So hopefully customers can feel the difference when I encourage the caller to actually go into the showroom and drive one.
Well, also, isn't that part of the distinctiveness between Lincoln too, is to give them distinctive powertrains?
Well, I think powertrain choices for Lincoln, they'll announce that at a later date. But in terms of the approach we've taken, the all 4-cylinder lineup, and the choices the customers have, the 8 choices that they have, we think will strike the right balance for performance and fuel for the Fusion customers.
So yeah, to your point, Roger, if you really got to have a V6, go get an MKZ. But before you do that, try even just that 1.6-liter EcoBoost in this engine.
Yeah, this one.
It'll shock you. I had no idea that the engine could perform this well in this car.
Yeah, especially with the manual.
Right, especially with that. I agree.
Well, I mean, the old school view, you want cubic inches, bigger the engine, the better. But, these new cars, they're lighter and the engines are so good. Mm-hmm. The 4-cylinder turbos are so good that as enthusiasts out there, check them out, go drive them before you decide.
Especially this one with the manual transmission.
And what about his question on timing chains versus timing belts?
Yeah, I think we can definitely talk about that. If we want to if we want to get the information from the customer, we'll definitely get the appropriate response to him, John.
Okay. Let's see. What else do we have here? Here's somebody who was saying, how long can Autoline ignore all the Tesla Model S awards and accolades? You guys really are the Detroit old guard. Well, we talked about the Tesla S. I thought it was sensational.
We talked about at the beginning of the show. Why don't you pay attention? Right. Go watch something else.
Right. So let's see here. I need at least one more question. RTK42C says, the new Ford Fusion's been getting excellent reviews from the automotive media, while the new Chevy Malibu has not. Have you heard if GM will pull a Honda and revise the new Malibu quickly in an attempt to improve the car's reviews?
I think the Malibu's a good car. Mm-hmm. I think the design just pales next to the Fusion. I don't think the Malibu's a bad car at all, but the buzz has been negative. I drove the car. I've driven a couple versions. Mm-hmm. I think it's a fine car.
I think it's a fine car, too. I don't think there's a styling problem with the Malibu. I agree with you. I think, look at the Camry or the Accord.
That's what I was just going to say. Camry and Accord are the same.
If people are knocking the Malibu, the Camry's very plain vanilla.
Yeah.
The Accord, I know Honda's saying, look how swoopy and all that is. That's their interpretation, not mine. And don't get me wrong, I think both cars are very competent cars. I think the new Accord is showing that Honda's getting its mojo back again. Yeah. But it ain't the styling statement they make it out to be.
Yeah, and Malibu, they have a little bit of the Camaro on the back end, but it's a fine car,
Mm-hmm. Well, it sort of raises the question, is this the midsize car that finally reclaims the midsize crown for Ford down the road?
Well, we'll see.
It's it'll take a couple of years, but
volume, do you? Yeah. What's Camry?
No, I don't think
400,000 a year. You couldn't do 400.
I think you guys they can.
Oh, he's smiling. Well, he's dreaming about doing this.
You have a couple plants.
But I think they have 350 tops, maybe even less right now.
Is it that much?
Well, I think it will be when they add Flat Rock.
But Flat Rock's going to be split, right? Half, or whatever the mix is, it's going to be Mustang and Fusion.
Yeah, we've announced that we're adding capacity to Flat Rock to join the Mustang. The Fusion will join the Mustang next calendar year, actually, in June. Mm-hmm. So we'll ramp up capacity sometime mid-next year.
We'll see. It's getting the car out into the real world, and the word of mouth still trumps all, and word of mouth now is social media for the most part. So when people see this on the road, they'll...
You know, another interesting data point, we talked about getting the word out. When we announced the car in the Detroit Auto Show, and our website came online sometime around May, between May and October of this year, we've had 1 million visitors on the website building and pricing the Fusion. So we're absolutely ecstatic. That's the most we've ever had on the website, interested in building and pricing the car before it actually comes to market.
And you're also transacting, I can't even talk here, this car at a much higher price, right? So far, at least.
Early days, but we're encouraged by the feedback that the car is selling at a higher mix rate. Lots of technology package, the lane keep assist, the adaptive cruise control, the technology package, the EcoBoost engines that we talked about. Over 55-60% of our vehicles. And you're right, you are transacting now at a higher
$3,700 more on average compared to the old Fusion.
Early days, but
and that's early days, right?
A lot of positive.
And we have to explain that, because by early days, what we mean is typically people who come in and buy the very early versions of a car loaded up. You know, you get those people who will gotta have the latest and the greatest, and they load it up. So it may not be transacting at $3,700 above, but that's a great place to start.
Exactly.
Right. And the outgoing model, people tend to look for bargains.
Good point.
So you've kind of got it at, you know, both ends.
Yeah, I mean, there's stunning deals on the old Fusion right now. Right. Huge deals.
Yeah. Whereas the people who really want the real deal are going to wait for the new one. So
we'll get back to everybody next spring, see how it's doing.
But lots of appetite for the new technology, though.
And when you talk about capacity, I don't know, it just seems like when automakers have a hit, they find a way to make more, don't they?
Amen. No, you're absolutely right. If there's enough people standing in line, they'll figure out how to
there's not very often they say, you know what, we can make more money, but we choose not to.
So Ford's gotten dinged a lot for My Ford Touch. I mean, Consumer Reports has crucified you guys over this thing. That doesn't seem to be stopping people from buying this car.
Well, there's actually a very high, and we just mentioned the appetite for technology. The technology package which has My Ford Touch is actually double what we planned the take rate to be. So we're encouraged by that signal as well. And we continually make improvements to the system over time. The system now has a much simpler design, more intuitive design. We've made speech recognition improvements, and we're encouraged by the feedback from our customers actually ordering twice as many as we thought they would.
And you'll keep improving it, presumably?
There is no finish line, right?
Because it's software.
That? That's right. That's my tagline. There is no finish line.
There's no finish line.
You just keep working and working and working.
Absolutely.
Hey, we're at the end of the show here, but we've got to announce the winners. We have three winners.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
So here you go, Peter. Winner number one is Davy Crockett.
Wow.
Actually, David Crockett. And he didn't say where he's from, but we've got Steve Fogel from San Diego, California, and Reno Diggs from Monroeville, PA, Pennsylvania.
Cool.
So
congratulations, everybody.
Chip, do you know, did we get their addresses?
We'll get them.
We'll get them, okay.
Well, tell what the answer was?
Oh, and yeah.
Repeat the question and what were the answers?
Thank you, Ben. Thank you.
Keep us all in suspense.
So I just got to call this up here. Okay, the question was, what two things happened in qualifying at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the 77 Indy 500, and why were they significant? Peter, do you want to give this?
Sure. Tom Sneva, who won the pole, turned his first two laps were over 200 miles an hour for the first time in Speedway history. The last two laps were a little slower, so I think he qualified on the pole at 198 and some change.
Yeah, exactly right.
And Janet Guthrie became the first woman to ever qualify for the Indianapolis 500.
So two significant events.
So it was quite the momentous year.
First time over 200 miles an hour. First time a woman ran on the track for the Indy 500.
Well, first time she qualified, a woman qualified for the race, yeah.
So there you go, and congratulations to the three winners. But that wraps us up. John Jraiche, thanks so much for coming on,
Yes,
and especially for bringing the car in.
My
with
pleasure,
you.
John. Thanks for
One of the true believers. We always like having the true believers.
Thank you.
We love the
My
truth.
pleasure.
And Alisa, great having you on the show, too.
Great to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, and because next Thursday night is Thanksgiving, there will not be an Autoline After Hours. And then the following week, we're going to be at the LA Auto Show, and we've got a pretty good Autoline After Hours that we're going to be doing then, because we're going to be trying something new. This is going to be highly risky for us. We're going to be driving the Volkswagen Beetle convertible, which debuts at the LA show, and the 3-cylinder 1-liter EcoBoost engine. And what's that in? A Fiesta? In a Fiesta.
A Eurospec Fiesta, I think.
Is it Eurospec? Any case, we're going to be driving it, and not just driving it. We're going to be driving around, going live with Autoline After Hours. So check it out. It's either going to crash and burn, or it's going to be an awesome show. So anyway, folks, thanks for having been here. Peter, great being with you again, man.
Great, John. Thanks, man.
Autoline After Hours is brought to you by Bridgestone, your journey, our passion. And by Chevrolet. Chevy runs deep.
Visit our website, Autoline.tv, where you can watch us live Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern. Get your daily news fix with Autoline Daily and in-depth analysis and interviews with Autoline This Week. There's all that and much more at Autoline.tv.